urgent, 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 emergency, right? That's what people are saying. Emergency Fed meeting, the jobs report, stock market's down. Listen, you've got to look past all of the hype and really look and see what's going on. So, all right, we had the jobs reports come out. It was at about 114,000 jobs. And so unemployment ticked up from 4.1 to 4.3%. It was like, wow, okay, hey, the labor market's really slowing down. And, you saw the decline in the stock market. You saw, of course, over in Japan, the Nikkei was down like 10%, and then the Dow closed, opened up and went down, 4.5%, I think it was, something like that. Rebounded back fairly well the next day. But there are a lot of pundits coming out and saying, oh, they need to have an emergency hearing for rate cut with 50 or 75 basis points, and that's what they're going to do. That's not what they're going to do. Listen, we've talked about this before, but I wanted to reiterate it here now in this moment, that the Fed is what we would often say is, they're late in showing up, both like if you look back in raising rates, they were late. Oh, it's transitory inflation. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. And they let rates stay like near zero for too long. And then when they should have already begun cutting rates, they're like, well, we want to make sure everything's not sticky here, and we're going to start monitoring jobs, and we're going to leave it alone. And there you go. Jobs are already coming down further. So that's historically a reality that the Fed is trailing behind. And you can reflect that and look at what's really going on in the capital markets, because like the 10-year Treasury is down now to about 3.85, 3.9%, where it just closed yesterday. So what does that mean? Okay, yes, I would say that rates are coming down. There's not going to be an emergency hearing, and next week they're going to have this hearing. The Fed's job is not to protect your 401k or your stock market, and they're not concerned about that. Even though they may look at that, they're not going to be moved by it. So I think it's more realistic that, 6 weeks out at the September meeting is when they're going to come together. They're going to have a rate cut, and depending on what transpires in the economy with both jobs and jobs primarily, and GDP between now and then is going to affect whether it's a quarter point or 50 point rate cut. Now, I'd be hard pressed to think they get to 50 unless there's some, really economic news that's unfavorable. Now, and again, the question becomes, are we in a recession or not in a recession? The traditional definition of recession is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. So that's yet to be seen. There's definitely, as we've talked about, a weakness in the overall economy. There's a weakness in the consumer, with the majority of people having spent through, their savings and pandemic money. Credit card balances are up. So these are all things that are definitely a watch and a concern. Now, that being said, for commercial real estate, that interest rates going down is a good thing. That really does have a driving variable or valuation that helps to push value up because loan rates are going down. So again, one, that makes new acquisition purchases more affordable because your interest rate is down, and it gives you more breadth of payment. And then even too, on properties that we have now that we are in the process of, preparing to sell or getting ready to sell for kind of first quarter of 2025 or end of year, that does reflect a good note as well. Now, that being said, economic slowdown, we've been saying it would be good to have some form of economic slowdown, not a tremendous amount. That just requires additional work on all fronts, makes things more challenging for sure. So, you want to definitely keep an eye on things, but also don't get caught up into the hype, emergency, that's kind of headline grabbers and whatnot. But again, what we will see is the Fed moving slowly, most likely, and that's been their historical reality, and I would suggest that's going to be the reality going forward. So what's that mean for you and me? It means that, we've got, I think what we would say is opportunity is on the horizon, just as we've been talking about, both from a buying perspective and from a selling perspective. So again, those things all look good. So thank you so much. Have a blessed and victorious week, for this is the week God has ordained for you.